Hey everybody, welcome back to the UIS. First off, we got some things to talk about.
Yeah, the UIS is another one that's a real pain in the ass.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the UIS. Today, I decided to talk about something a little different. Earlier today, there was a comment left, and I made a comment in reply involving the movie Revenge of the Nerds. I was going to make a connection between Revenge of the Nerds and the novel 1984. But I was thinking that maybe Revenge of the Nerds did not come out in 1984, but turns out it did. Which proves nothing. The reason I wanted to make this video today is the year 1986. I thought Revenge of the Nerds would have ended up being made in 1986. Because I found that most movies are, if that makes any sense at all. Of course it doesn't. That's complete garbage. Most movies were not made in 1986. But it seems like whenever you list all the movies from your childhood, now this is of course my childhood, not yours perhaps, but most movies were made in 1986 that really meant something. And same goes for music as well. 1986 was just a fantastic year. I barely even remember it, but it was still a fantastic year. And what I want to do, I want to go through IMDb and show you guys the movies that were actually released in 1986. And I think you're going to be surprised at how many of your favorite films were released in 1986. So, without further ado, here we go. So, number one, right there, Top Gun. Top Gun. What else can be said about Top Gun? I mean, the new movie that just came out was all right, but still, nothing beats good old Top Gun. As you can see here, I've chosen movies that were released within the 1986 year, and it's sorted by popularity. No big surprise that Top Gun achieved the number one spot. Number two, Stand By Me. Another fabulous movie. Just another fabulous movie. So many good quotes. I love Stephen King's work. River Phoenix was in this movie. Corey Feldman, Jerry O'Connell, Will Wheaton, everyone is children. And it was just a great movie. All right. Next up is number three, Aliens. Again, directed by James Cameron. Just another fantastic movie. Has an IMDb score of 8.4, pretty damn good. We didn't really go through what the scores were in the first two, so I might as well. 8.1 for Stand By Me, and 6.9 for Top Gun. Alright. I like the movie Aliens. It's not one of my favorite movies. I'm not going to watch it over and over and over again like I would some of the other films that are really close to my heart. But it's still a great movie, and it deserves where it stands. And it's definitely a movie that you would think came out of the wonderful year of 1986. Number four, Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Are you guys seeing it so far? Four just classic movies that are just the best in the world. And it's only four films that came out in 1986. Can you name 4 films that came out this year or last year? Can you name 4 just legendary movies? And make no mistake about it, back in 1986 when these films came out, you knew they were something special back then. So, number 5, Platoon, with Charlie Sheen, Tom Berenger, Willem Dafoe. Yeah, great movie. Great movie. Hoosiers. Now, it's definitely a legendary film. People that love basketball seem to love Hoosiers. Not a big fan of the film itself, but again, point stands. It's just a great film, proving 86 was the year. Labyrinth. Man, David Bowie. Again, not one of my favorite films, but still very, very famous film. Very popular with certain people. And let's see. Even got Goblin King in the description. Something we can all relate to. Blue Velvet. Oh man, David Lynch. Who doesn't love a David Lynch film? As Dennis Hopper. Probably Dennis Hopper is probably in half of these films. Man. Of course, Kyle MacLachlan of Twin Peaks fame. Love that film. Blue Velvet. Return to Mayberry, 1986 movie. They can't all be hits. Why is that even on my list? TV movie, come on. Heartbreak Ridge. Great film, Clint Eastwood. Howard the Duck. A piece of crap movie, but still very notable. People talk about it. It's it's a known film. It's one of now it says directed by Willard Huck. I thought Lucas. I thought George Lucas did that film. Oh well. The Fly, the 1986 edition, of course, starring Jeff Goldblum, another great film. Pretty in Pink, number 13, Molly Ringwald, John Cryer, Harry Dean Stanton, one of my most beloved actors. Loved him in Repo Man. It seems like he was in everything. It's like Samuel L. Jackson, who seems to be in everything these days, back to when he started really getting into films. Harry Dean Stanton's been doing it since the 70s. He was in The Godfather. Godfather Part 2, but still, he was in the Godfather films. Annie Potts, who was extremely on every young man's mind back then. I think now she's in that new show, Young Sheldon, as the grandmother. So Pretty in Pink. Highlander. Alright. I mean, still a good movie. It's fun to watch sometimes. Not one of my favorites. But, stars Christopher Lambert and Sean Connery. Number 15, Big Trouble in Little China. Great film by John Carpenter. Kurt Russell stars. Got lots of history with that film, don't we? Alright, come on, stop it with the Matlock crap. Alright, TV movie Matlock. Point still stands, though. It's like every film's been great except for the TV crap that they're throwing in on me. The Wraith. Oh, I love The Wraith with Charlie Sheen. But still, it's not a fantastic movie, but classic movies. Anyone who was a kid back in the 80s probably saw this film many, many times on HBO or Cinemax. Randy Quaid was in The Wraith? Manhunter. No idea. Again, they can't all be winners. What every French woman wants. I mean, who has not spent a whole weekend? Okay, never mind. This is making me look bad, IMDb. Putting these damn TV movies here. Casualty. Number 21, Three Amigos, coming back strong. 22, Little Shop of Horrors. Another great film, a remake actually. The dentist, played by Steve Martin, was just a great sadistic role that he played. Some people may not know the original Little Shop of Horrors, which was in black and white, but I believe they had a color edition as well. A young Jack Nicholson was in that movie in a sort of a cameo role as the dentist's... Okay, Bill Murray's role in this edition as the one who was very masochistic and wanted all the abuse from Steve Martin's character. The original 1960s edition of Little Shop of Horrors, Jack Nicholson played that role. He was the patient. 23, not a movie, again, come on now, but it's out. You know, maybe I should just, it's my damn video. If I'm going to go back and take off TVs, why can't I? All right, so as I mentioned before, we're going to restart this. All the same films are going to be in the same place. We're just going to be rid of those pesky television films. Top Gun, Stand By Me, Aliens, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, Platoon, Hoosiers, Labyrinth, Blue Velvet at number 8, Heartbreak Ridge, Howard the Duck, The Fly, Pretty in Pink, Highlander, Big Trouble in Little China, The Wraith, and now we get to the famous film Manhunter. Alright, so that's 15 films that are very well known out of 16. Continuing on, What Every French Woman Wants. Alright, back on track with Three Amigos again. Little Shop of Horrors, 9.5 weeks. I mean, come on, that's a stupid movie. But again, it's a movie I remember. Mickey Rourke, Kim Basinger. But still, Maximum Overdrive. Another Stephen King film. This one has Emilio Estevez. I think it's a great movie. It's very funny. Has the scene where Stephen King looks into the camera. This machine just called me an asshole. Yeah. Great film. I mean, it's not the best movie in the world, but it's a movie, one of my favorites. And then it's 1986. What can I tell you? Peggy Sue Got Married with a very early Nicolas Cage, and Jim Carrey is in this film. Directed by Francis Ford Coppola. About Last Night. Another great movie. Stars a lot of the Brat Pack, who were Judd Nelson, Emilio Estevez, Molly Ringwald, a bunch more. Rob Lowe, Demi Moore. So, a good movie, definitely memorable. Do you guys not, hopefully I'm not just being an idiot here. I mean, this has been 23 films, and about 20 of them were just legendary films that lots of people love. I might not love them all, but still very well-known, loved films. Number 24, we got Cobra with Sly Stallone. Yeah. Brigitte Nielsen. Yeah, you can tell when they were married, because it seems like they were always in films together. Rocky IV, Cobra, Short Circuit. Man, it's been a long time since I've thought of that movie. Jeff Goldblum. No, I'm sorry. Steve Guttenberg and the robot. And then that Ali Sheedy, another one of the Brat Pack, Ali Sheedy. 26, Crocodile Dundee. 27, Trick or Treat. There's a new movie called Trick or Treat, I thought. I don't know this film. So that's about 3 movies so far that I have never really heard of 27 films. Make that 4. The Name of the Rose. No idea. But it's got Sean Connery, Christian Slater. Wow. I might have to check this one out. An intellectually nonconformist friar investigates a series of mysterious deaths in an isolated abbey. The Mission. I don't know this film either, but it's got Robert De Niro and Jeremy Irons, so I might have to check these 2 out. Those first 2 or 3, no thanks. Fly the Navigator, a well-known movie, not very good. It's got Paul Rubens, who, for those who don't know, that's Pee Wee Herman. Red-Headed Stranger. Yeah. No clue there. Willie Nelson, Morgan Fairchild, who was real big in soap operas back in these days. Star Trek IV, The Voyage Home. 33, Back to School. Early film and starring Robert Downey Jr. The weirdo from Christine is in this film, and of course Rodney Dangerfield and Paulie from Rocky. Castle in the Sky. No idea. This looks like maybe an animated. Yep, animated. It looks Japanese. The Color of Money with Paul Newman and Tom Cruise. Very good movie. Pool Hustler, Pool Shark. I think this is pretty sure this is a sequel. The original being Paul Newman. I think it was The Hustler, something like that. That was a very good movie. This one I'm not so sure about. Definitely remember it being around though. Something Wild at number 36. No idea, never heard of it. Stars Jeff Daniels, Melanie Griffith. So it was a film. What's it about? It's about 114 minutes. The Money Pit at number 37. Oh, come on now. Tom Hanks. Yeah. Tom Hanks, Shelley Long. Not a very good movie, but, pretty funny. Pumping all this money into this house, and it ends up being a disaster. Reminds me a lot of Funny Farm, just incredible amounts of money and hilarity. The Karate Kid Part 2. I would have expected Karate Kid Part 1 to be made in 86, but Part 2 was. Still a very good film, had that wonderful soundtrack by Peter Cetera, Chicago, whatever. Great movie. Critters, 39. Just trash. Beautiful, beautiful horror trash. All right, we're up to almost the top 40, and there's been maybe 6 or 7 that I don't know. That at least 4 or 5 that I can pretty much guarantee no one's heard of. One Crazy Summer, number 40. Demi Moore, John Cusack. I believe this one has Bobcat Goldthwait and others. Very good, funny film. River's Edge, 1986. No idea. Crispin Glover, Keanu Reeves, Ione Skye. Sounds like a movie I'd probably like. So, a high school slacker commits a shocking act and proceeds to let his friends in on the secret. However, the friend's reaction is almost as ambiguous and perplexing as the crime itself. It grossed $4.6 million. I don't think that was a very good performance. Number 42, The Mosquito Coast. Classic film with Harrison Ford. Helen Mirren, back when she was a lot younger. River Phoenix. River Phoenix was in a lot of films before he, died way too soon. Raw Deal. Come on now. Everybody loves a good old classic, just Schwarzenegger film. He says, I'll be back in there somewhere. Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer. Love this film too. It's got Michael Rooker from so many different eras of film. You're going to find him somewhere. Some people love him in The Walking Dead. Some people love him from Mallrats. I love him in this film. Also, Days of Thunder. Yes, he was in Days of Thunder. Number 45, Betty Blue. No idea. Number 46, The Golden Child. Great, great film. Eddie Murphy. Well, I say great, great film. How about just well-known film? 47, Youngblood. Rob Lowe, Cynthia Gibb, Patrick Swayze. It seems like Rob Lowe, Patrick Swayze probably has a lot of people who were in Outsiders together. From Beyond. I don't know this film. Jeffrey Combs? Is that Reanimator? The guy from Reanimator? That is the guy from Reanimator, yes. Number 49, The Delta Force. Good old Chuck Norris action film. Chuck Norris, Lee Marvin. Wow. Number 50, Star Slammer. Two women who have been unjustly confined to a prison planet plot their escape, all the while having to put up with lesbian guards, crazed wardens, and mutant rodents. This was on probably very late at night on Cinemax. Lucas, man. Corey Haim, Charlie Sheen, Courtney Thorne-Smith of Melrose Place fame. Very good, touching little film from '86. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. Speaking of Dennis Hopper being in everything, yes. Not the best movie, but An American Tale. Wow, I remember that. Dom DeLuise, Christopher Plummer. A young Russian mouse gets separated from his family. Armed and Dangerous. John Candy, Meg Ryan, Eugene Levy, Robert Loggia. Not the best film in the world, but definitely a staple of the 80s. The Manhattan Project. Yeah, John Lithgow. I don't remember much about this movie, but if I could say anything about it, it's just like the last one. A good example of an 80s film. But again, 1986 is what we're talking about here. The Hitcher with C. Thomas Howell and Rutger Hauer. Man, I remember how there's a scene where he's eating French fries. One of the French fries ends up being a finger. Jennifer Jason Leigh was in that film too. Friday the 13th, Part 6, Jason Lives. Don't know what to say about that. It's just another Friday the 13th film. There had to be one in '86. Back then, it seemed like there was a Friday the 13th film every year. Sid and Nancy. Man. Gary Oldman playing the role of Sid Vicious. Courtney Love has a cameo buried in there somewhere. Chloe Webb, who's her portrayal of Nancy was probably very, very authentic, because I hated the character, and so I'm sure that was the intent. Nancy Spungen. Transformers the movie, animated. Not much to say about that, but it was voiced by Orson Welles, Robert Stack, Leonard Nimoy. Murphy's Law. I don't remember too much about that, but Charles Bronson. Nomads, no idea. Pierce Brosnan's in it, though. Legal Eagles, another typical 80s movie starring Robert Redford, Deborah Winger, Daryl Hannah, and Brian Dennehy. Brian Dennehy, I believe, is the cop from Rambo, the original First Blood. Hannah and Her Sisters. Chick flick, directed by Woody Allen. Mia Farrow, who was his wife at the time. Michael Caine. Decent movie. I mean, it's a Woody Allen film. Witchboard. No idea, but it stars nobody really of note. Can't all be winners. Chopping Mall. Again. Crossroads. Ralph Macchio. Poison for the Fairies. No idea. Now we're up to number 67, and now I'm starting to get into films that are kind of crap. But so that's a lot of films for 1 year. A lot of great films for 1 year. Night of the Creeps. Okay, we're back on track. We're back on track. All right, just kidding. Tom Atkins. I mean, come on. I believe Tom Atkins was in Top Gun. Yeah, I think. The Great Mouse Detective. Whatever. April Fool's Day. Lots of classic horror in 86, it seems like. Poltergeist 2, The Other Side. Psycho 3. Not a bad Psycho film. It's not going to be one of the best, but it's okay. Now, for those who don't know, Psycho was from, 1962, 63, whatever. The sequel wasn't until 20 years later. Then they made several sequels in a row. Rad. Wow. I can only say that is Talia Shire is in it, who was in James Bond, A View to a Kill. So rad. Yeah. We'll just moving on. Lady Jane. Helena Bonham Carter. Wow. Carrie Elways. Carrie Elways being the one who cut his foot off in Saw, who's also the dread pirate Roberts in Princess Bride, who was Robin Hood in Men in Tights. Clan of the Cave Bear. Wow, remember that film too with Daryl Hannah? The Sacrifice. No idea. Space Camp. Yeah. It does not show this on the front area here. Kate Capshaw, Leah Thompson, Kelly Preston, Larry B. Scott. But if I remember correctly, a young Joaquin Phoenix is in this film. Like 9-year-old Joaquin Phoenix. Iron Eagle. Lou Gossett Jr. Great movie. Ruthless People. It was watched. It's Abrams and Zucker, Bette Midler, Dane DeVito, Judge Reinhold, and Helen Slater. Mona Lisa at number 80. No idea. A Better Tomorrow. No idea, but it's got Chow Yun-fat, so it's probably a good action film directed by John Woo. At Close Range, Sean Penn, Christopher Walken, Mary Stuart Masterson, and Chris Penn. Chris Penn being the fat son of the Kingpin in Reservoir Dogs. Mary Stuart Masterson. I'm not sure who that is. I have a feeling it's Tony Montana's sister in Scarface, but I'm not sure about that. I don't want to click on it because it takes too long to get it back into full screen and back on track. So we're just going to have to wonder. The Adventures of Milo and Otis. Troll. Good classic horror film. Soul Man. C. Thomas Howell. Ray Don Chong. James Earl Jones. Very good movie. I mean, it's stupid. A guy takes a pill, becomes black, gets a African-American scholarship to Harvard. Down by Law. Never heard of that. Tom Waits. Okay. The Boy Who Could Fly. An autistic boy who dreams of flying touches everyone he meets, including a new family who's moved in after their father dies. Don't know. It stars Fred Savage, so that's someone that I've heard of. Demons Part 2. Another notable horror film from the 80s. Heartburn. Meryl Streep, Jack Nicholson, Jeff Daniels. Okay. Running Scared. Gregory Hines and Billy Crystal. Pretty funny film. Billy Crystal was busy during this time in the 80s, still making a lot of films. He was also in The Princess Bride. He was the little troll-like person who answered the door for Andre the Giant, I believe, when he was trying to revive the dread Pirate Roberts. Dolls. Okay. Reform Schoolgirls. Again, we're in late night Cinemax territory here. Alan Quarterman and the Lost City of Gold. Never heard of it. It's got Sharon Stone, James Earl Jones. Police Academy 3, Back in Training. Starring Michael Winslow. That's the guy who makes all the funny sounds. Steve Guttenberg, Bubba Smith. Biggles, Adventures in Time. I've never heard of this film. It's got Peter Cushing, who is a great, just iconic horror film actor from the 40s, 50s, 60s, whatever. Gung Ho, starring Michael Keaton. Gede Watanabe, George Wendt, Mimi Rogers. TerrorVision. Okay. Children of a Lesser God, starring William Hurt. Piper Laurie. Piper Laurie was the crazy mom from Carrie. And she was also the... Oh, man. She was in Twin Peaks. Caravaggio? Salvador, I can see right now it's got Woods. James Woods, Jim Belushi, Michael Murphy, John Savage. She's Gotta Have It. No idea. Solar Babies. I remember that. Not a very good movie. Clockwise. Not a very good movie. Starring John Cleese. So I'm assuming it's probably a British film. FX. Remember that movie? Starring Brian Dennehy. Thrashin', skateboard movie, starring Josh Brolin. Josh Brolin is better known as the person who was dumb enough to sign on to play the remake of Old Boy. Working Girls. No idea. Slaughter High. Commando. That sounds like... No. Deadly Friend. I loved this movie. It had Christy Swanson, who just didn't seem to age for decades. Class of Nukem High. Good old trauma film. Yeah, directed by whoever, and Lloyd Kaufman. Flaughter? Never heard of it. Jumpin' Jack Flash. Whoopi Goldberg. Rollerblade. The Big Easy. Dennis Quaid, Ellen Barkin, Ned Beatty, John Goodman. Armor of God. Rawhead Rex. Not a film many people have heard of. It was an awful horror film, but in a good way. Big, evil, nasty beast. Baptized as a priest. No hands. Wow. Invaders from Mars. Devil in the Flesh. Pickup starring Roy Schneider from Jaws. King Kong Lives. Down and Out in Beverly Hills. Nick Nolte and Bette Midler. Richard Dreyfuss and Little Richard. Wildcats. Goldie Hawn. That was a good film. Very funny. Just typical 80s daytime on HBO watching. Castaway. Nothing in Common. Tom Hanks and Jackie Gleason. Back in the 80s, Tom Hanks was known more as a very comedic actor. He was in a show where he dressed up as a woman. And so a lot of his films were just comedies. It wasn't until movies like this and Philadelphia that he started getting into a more dramatic role. Amazons. When the Wind Blows. It's like British animation. 8 Million Ways to Die. Starring Jeff Bridges and Rosanna Arquette. Gothic? Pirates? No idea. Wise Guys. I'm going to stop when it starts getting like several into it that's just completely unknown. This film, I remember, Wise Guys, directed by Brian De Palma, who directed Scarface, stars Dane DeVito, Joe Piscopo, Harvey Keitel. All right. Manon of the Spring, Stewardess School, Vamp, Breeders. Get into a lot of 80s horror. The Morning After. I kind of remember that. Starring Jay Fonda, Jeff Bridges, Raul Julia, who played Bison in the Street Fighter movie, and also Gomez Addams in the original Addams Family movies. Extremities, Farrah Fawcett. No idea. No Mercy, Richard Gere, Kim Basinger. True Stories. It's got John Goodman, but I've never heard of it. Club Paradise, Robin Williams. I remember this, another good classic 80s. Sitting at home during the summer watching HBO. Rick Moranis is in it, I believe. Harold Ramis has directed it. Black Moon Rising. Tommy Lee Jones. Linda Hamilton. Link. Oh, I remember this. Remember this with the monkey. Spookies. Jean de Floret. Matador. NC-17. Okay. Heat, starring Burt Reynolds. The Quest. No idea. Eliminators. No idea. Quicksilver. Kevin Bacon. Land of Doom. Tough Guys. Burt Lancaster. Kirk Douglas. Charles Durning. The Green Ray. Morhar and Ortor. Fire with Fire. 7 Minutes in Heaven. Just Between Friends. The Devil's Honey. Haunted Honeymoon. Gene Wilder. Gilda Radner. Dom DeLuise. Decent movie. I mean, not decent movie. It was trash, but it was funny. The Naked Cage. Necropolis. Wanted Dead or Alive. I see Rutger Hauer there. Neon Maniacs. Body Count. Meatballs 3. Summer Job. Oh, I remember Meatballs 3 with the alien. Meathead. Band of the Hand. In a Glass Cage. Oh, Belinda. The Best of Times. Kurt Russell and Robin Williams. Rat Boy. Bad Blood. Firewalker. Never Too Young to Die. Sorority House Massacre. Another classic 80s film. Horror film. Crimes of the Heart. Diane Keaton. Evil Laugh. Dead Time Stories. Babysitting Uncle tells his nephew 3 horror stories about killer witches, Little Red Riding Hood, and a werewolf. And Goldilocks and the 3 Bears. Royal Warriors, Fist of the North Star, animated. I kind of know of that one. Jocks, that's typical late night Cinemax fare. Nightmare Weekend. Don't know who any of this stuff is, but it looks almost like Elvira. Blood Hook. Round Midnight. Hands of Steel. Ooh. Yeah, we're getting into a lot of just cheesy horror and sci-fi. My Chauffeur, neither sci-fi or horror. The Majorettes, that's a horror film. Monster in the Closet, Vicious Lips, Power. This list has 250. So I figure I owe it 286 to go ahead and go through all of them. But I'm going to try to go through them a little quickly. 187 on the MF Power. Absolute Beginners. Every Time We Say Goodbye, starring Tom Hanks. Tom Hanks has been in like 2 or 3 films in 86. The Men's Club. Modern Girls, starring Daphne Zuniga. Virginia Madsen. Okay. The Terrorizers. Looks like a Chinese film. The Malibu Bikini Shop. Kinzaza. Alright. Avenging Force. Under the Cherry Moon, starring Prince. Probably funny a little bit, you know. I mean, it's got Prince, so he's gonna sing, right? Eye of the Tiger, starring Gary Busey. Yeah, moving on. The Zero Boys. Private Tuition. That sounds, yeah, Cinemax, late at night. Recruits. A Canadian sex comedy in the tradition of Police Academy. That's the official description. Wow. It looks, the cover looks like Police Academy. Brighton Beach Memoirs. I don't remember that movie, but Taipan. Entrails of a Beautiful Woman. Okay. Looks like I'm not even reading any of that. Wisdom. Emilio Estevez. Demi Moore. Tom Skerritt. That's the one who was in Top Gun. Tom Skerritt, not Tom Atkins. Veronica Cartwright, Star Crystal, The Female Executioner, Amazing Stories, directed by Robert Zemeckis. Amazing Stories was a TV show in the 80s that was pretty good. Half Moon Street, American Anthem, Opposing Force, Tom Skerritt, The Frog Prince, Righting Wrongs. Okay. Teenage Dream. Okay, it's like it's either going to be an Asian film, crappy horror film, or just straight up prawn. I mean, Dead Man's Letters. Hard Bodies 2. Cinemax. Hamburger, the motion picture. I remember Hamburger. Hamburger University, a college to Buster Burger University. Let's Get Hairy. All right. Summer Camp Nightmare, starring Chuck Connors. Big Trouble. Peter Falk, Alan Arkin, Beverly D'Angelo, and Charles Durning. So good actors, probably past their prime, and they made a movie in '86. The Corruption, One-Sided Passion, Jake Speed, Blue City, Last Resort, another late night Cinemax. And yeah, Charles Grodin is in this, and John Ashton. People who actually starred in these things back then. Killer Party, A Fine Mess, Ted Danson, Howie Mandel, Silk, Entrails of a Virgin. Wasn't there already an Entrails movie on this list? Members of a film crew making a softcore prawn are dismembered by a demon in a warehouse. The tale is old as time. Body Slam. Haha. Dirk Benedict, Tanya Roberts, Captain Lou Albano, and Rowdy Roddy Piper. It grossed $0.01 million. Shanghai Surprise. Sean Penn and Madonna. They were married back in those days. Paul Freeman. Crawl Space. Max, My Love. Dead End Drive-In. Okay. The Seventh Curse. Another Asian film. Chow Yun-Fat. That's Chinese. Seize the Day. Robin Williams. I've seen many Robin Williams films back in the 80s, but I've not seen that one. Inspector Laverden. No idea. Saving Grace. Dragon Ball. Curse of the Blood Rubies? Dragon Ball was in 86? Wow. Goku and his friends must stop. King's whatever. I did not know that Dragon Ball was from mid-80s. Parting Glances. Steve Buscemi. Wow. Playing for Keeps. 3:15, The Moment of Truth. Wow. The Fugitives, starring Gerard Depardieu. The Temple of the Amazon, something like that. Sweet Liberty, starring Alan Alda. Wow, Alan Alda is Hawkeye from MASH. The TV show, not the film. Michael Caine, Michelle Pfeiffer, Bob Hoskins. Violets Are Blue. Lady of the Night. All right. Millionaires Express. Duet for One. Space camp. There was already a space camp on this list. This is a different space camp. 3 best friends hit the road in the family's retro station wagon to fulfill their childhood fantasy of going to space camp after losing their jobs, while their evil former boss again seeks his revenge and is unwittingly on their trail. And number 250, The Boy in Blue. That looks like Nicolas Cage. Nicolas Cage, Christopher Plummer, David Naughton. All right, so that's going to do it. That was a long, tiring list. Hopefully I made my point. Any recent year that you pull, you are not going to find a list of talent like that. I mean, that was just, 86 was the year. If you don't agree, let me know about it in the comments. Let me know what your favorite year of film was. All right. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Something a little bit different, not as twisted and just creepy as Lowell Cowles. Can be fun, but sometimes it gets creepy, I know. So yeah, leave me a comment. Please like the video if you liked it, dislike it if you disliked it. Subscribe to the channel if you have not already done so, and I will talk to you guys again in the next video. Goodbye. Now that's where I go back to my studio and see that it hasn't been filming at all. No, it's filming, but I look like a bum. Good night, everybody.